Hello everybody, I am Shikha Khanna. I'm from India. I'm a photographer for past 20 years. I'm totally delighted to be here with this challenge, and I've always believed that stories is what we need to move forward in life or otherwise in our businesses or social media. I am bringing this presentation around how visuals and photography and how self-portraits can elevate the level of storytelling and give you a message very clearly, because the message that we need to give first goes through a visual. When we are tapping, when we are going through all the Facebook posts, the first thing that we see is is the visual that stops us, that tells us. So this presentation will take you through that, how I can help you with telling you that how visuals can be used. And I would have loved to be there live, but because of the time zone and the little baby, this time I'm not live. But here is a very nice video that I can send you and gift you for taking your understanding of how visuals can help and tell your story very, very well. And to go ahead from here, I've just realized that I have not put the mic. Sorry for being very authentic, but this is what it is. And I believe that the more authentic you are, the better it is. And that's the first thing of the story. I did forget my mic, and I'm just going to still continue the process, because that's what I believe. Being very authentic to your story, who you are, what's happening around, connects you to people. I'm heading a world movement of mothers. I'm bringing 100 mothers across the world together. And till the time I had this vision and I was trying to control it too much, it never happened. But the day I stepped up with my story, the day I stepped up visually, the day I stepped up with my authenticity, I started to do this project much better. And the kind of love this project has got, it's thanks to that authenticity, that storytelling, that showing up visually through self-portrait is what has made this project a big thing. So before we start, I'm just going to share the screen, and just give me, I'll just share the screen and then we can take it from there, and I can go through this presentation, and that's where it is. Our screen is right here, and multiple tabs are on because alright, we are going back because I was on the last slide when I finished seeing this. So here we are with the Visual Story Mastery. That's what I called my program. One of my programs is called Visual Story Mastery. And I feel that the minute Visual Story Mastery is done, a lot can be achieved, especially in your business and storytelling. So we'll start from here, and I want you to start thinking. This story actually stopped the World War II. This picture was a Vietnam War, and this picture was taken, and photographer, this girl is called, she's Kim Pak, and when I was very young, she had done a story, a competition on photography, and I was very fascinated that she had brought stories across the world through a photography competitions of love, friendship, and family. And this girl is getting burnt here because there was a bomb blast, and the photographer was very torn. Should I take her to the hospital, or should I, take a picture? But he did take a picture and then took her to the hospital. She clearly remembers that. And then this picture was sent to the UN. And then UN saw that the children are getting burned because of this world war, and so much bomb blasting is happening there. They decided to stop the World War II. So that's the magic of that's the magic of pictures. It can stop a world war. A story like that can stop a world war. So we need to think that if a story like that can stop World War II, why can't it stop our clients on our page? something to think about, something to really think about. That's the power of visual, because we in our brain are 70% visual learners. We learn visually, we visualize everything. When we meditate, we are told to visualize. Visuals are very, very important part of our life, and hence very, very important part of our business, of our storytelling. Uh, so I feel there are two ways of telling a visual story. Sorry for the spelling of the visual story, but yes, there are two ways of telling a visual story. One is content, and second is a content story or a self-portrait. Well, we'll move ahead. Content story basically is that you can create what's happening in your life or whatever story you want to tell through whatever content you're writing. Like it could be your diary, it could be your plants, it could be your garden, it could be your travel, it could be your children. So that's the content story, the content that you're writing, and then you create a picture around it, and then you put that picture forward. And second is self-portrait, and self-portrait I believe is a great tool of transformation. And self-portrait, once you start adopting, not selfies, not the selfies where you look at the camera, the same angle, top angle and pout. Self-portrait is all about your portrait of what you think, how you feel, what's going on in your life, and then you express it visually and connect it to your everyday pushing your pictures. So people start to relate to it because there's a story behind it, or there's a real personality behind it. So that's other two kinds of things. What are the key things I think to keep in mind in your visual storytelling? Okay, so these I would love people to either write it down or take a screenshot, because this is what it takes to get a good visual story going. So include small details to tell a story, like your favorite pen, like your favorite diary, your whatever it takes. When you're telling a story, your dog. So don't forget these details with the content when you're doing that. Try and get the emotion. Just posing and smiling doesn't work. Try and create an emotion around it. And emotions can be created either through lighting. All that can be learned. Of course, it takes a bit time sometimes, but it could be just expressing emotionally rather than just being static in a picture and just posing. So try and have emotions in your story, and keep it simple. Don't complicate your story. Just sometimes your hand and one flower in your hand in the whole picture against a white background could be a simple story that you want to tell. So we don't have to complicate everything by saying, oh, this story and that story. It's just like sometimes one quote does it all. So we try to keep our visual story simple, because in the bombardment of visuals around us, when the story is simple, visually expressed, it basically tells the message clearly. Okay? So, and don't forget about the basics. Of course, you need to know a little bit about photography. You need to know, and that can be learned. It's not a big deal today to learn about it. And my children are there in the thing. So now, I always believe that stories capture emotion, that emotion captures the heart. If you can all keep this in mind, that when our hearts are captured, when we're emotionally attached to anything, we can achieve anything we want. Anything can be achieved. And we need to make sure that that's something to keep in mind, that we need to tell our stories emotionally to be able to capture hearts. And if we move on from here, how do we start seeing is where we will start. The reason I'm going very fast is that we need to finish it in 40 minutes, otherwise I won't be able to send this video across to mine, and that's the time slot we have. But I'm trying to put in as much as possible in it. So how do we start seeing? We need to know that good photos matter. That's the feeling that we need to definitely have. We don't need to say, oh, photography doesn't matter, it doesn't happen. We don't need great pictures. We don't need to say all that. So good photos matter for content, and enticing your audience with stunning visual does help and take us a long way. So just remember, and those are my children going who were just told to leave. So that's again being authentic, heading a mom's movement. I realized that they can come in, that they can go in. So forget about that. So anyway, so we have to go with this belief that good photos matter. Only then we will make an effort. Otherwise, we will not make an effort because we will think visuals don't matter. So we need to do it. So why is it important to take a good photos for social media? Why do you think it's important? Here's an example. This is my picture when I was tired and I took on the left and I went to take a picture of mine. And that is my picture again. I was tired on the second one as well. But I tried to make an emotional thing. I tried to not just pose into the camera or have a fake smile. I just tried to smile about it, or I just tried to really get into the visual to make that story. So which one do you think is more likely to get attention? Which picture will you stop when you look at it, when you're scrolling through? Very, very important to know that. So there is a reason why National Geography invests a lot of money in photographers and the best equipment, because stories is the only way. They have been selling their magazines for so many years because their visuals, nobody can deny National Geography visuals are the best. They will see the visuals first. Your audience will see the visual first before buying that magazine. It's the visual of National Geography that attracts people to buy that magazine and later what they're writing in it. So it's very, very important to even keep this perspective that why does National Geography spend so much money on photographers? If you actually go and see, they spend a lot of money on photography because they've been making all the sales and all the progress in their work because of the pictures that they create. That's the power of a picture. And like nobody can deny this. So I just want everybody to know that what does photography mean? It's a very important question that I ask people. People should know what photography really means. You know, photography means painting with light. The thing is that camera is a light capturing device. If we're in a dark room and it's totally dark, do you think we can get a picture? No, we can't, because camera is a light capturing device. If your light is not good, your pictures can't be good. So you have to start understanding the light. And I know it's sounding like, oh my God, what is light? How do we know it? At the moment, the simplest thing you can do is when the bright sunlight is there or where you feel the light is very bright, try and take your pictures there rather than indoors or in the night, because phone cameras tend to not capture great pictures with no lighting. Of course, you can get into deeper, you can go on for 2 years of studying light. I'm still studying light after 20 years. I still find some light that I can't imitate when I see a picture and I try to recreate it. So there is no end to learning light, but you don't have to go all the way. All you need to know is try and not shoot in dark spaces when you're making your content pictures so that the pictures stand out. And of course, you can keep going up the ladder and you can start understanding pictures and light, and then you start taking even better and better pictures. But start from here, start from taking that wherever you understand the light is. And the best way to understand the light is that when you go inside, just close your eyes. Any place you want to do your picture, just close your eyes and feel. Can you feel the light? At this point in time, when I close my eyes, I feel the light coming from the front wall on my face. I can feel it, and it really makes a difference. And if it's dark, you will feel darkness around you. The light has a feel on our body. Try it. Right now, also, if you close your eyes, you will see which part of your face is lit up, which is not, because those are the things that matter, you know. So I'm just like giving you examples that all these pictures are working even if in dark because of some light falling on them. This is some of my work, and this is some of my students' work, and all this is because of interesting light. If you take away good light and interesting part about it, the story goes out, like especially with the folk and with this cat, and the texture of this thing is also because of the light being very, very strong. And of course, it can't be understood in this 40 minutes. I can't tell you everything about light, but there is a way of learning it, and there are many tutorials, and I teach photography, but there are many, many tutorials available to understand light more on YouTube by many, many people. You know, light can see from here, the light is giving such a stark thing, and from here suddenly the soft light gives very, very dreamy images. So if your content is dreamy, if your story is dreamy, we need to use this kind of a light so that we can give that dreamy kind of a look before somebody wants to read our content. So very, very important to know that their light can make so much of a difference in telling a story. You know, these are all soft emotions, and light has been used very strongly to depict it. versus when you see, when you go back and you see this, these emotions are darker emotions because of the light being used versus this softer, dreamy feelings, because of the light. Again, people ask me, about composition, etc. I don't want to get into technical details to confuse all of you, but to tell you that just by standing, sitting, or lying down on the floor, like the last picture right here is, I'm literally lying down on the floor. In the middle one, I'm looking from the top. You can change the story. The story changes the minute you change your angle. So don't take pictures just standing up and just taking from one angle and just say, all right, this is the angle I want to do. Background. This is a graffiti wall I had selected. Use the background to tell your stories as well. Find graffiti walls, find textured walls, find other walls to tell your story, to add that interest. If you saw this picture, you would want to know more about why is she sitting near the arrow. She's a pianist who had a whole vision of keep moving forward, and then I found this graffiti wall and I placed her there, and that's how it mattered to do that. Similarly, same pianist, and she was singing and humming, and there was shadows on the wall, and it shows the movement by just me placing her in a swinging way, and the shadows behind. But again, I don't want you all to get stuck in it. I'm just letting you know and giving you a preview of what a visual story can mean. And this is what I took when I wanted to tell her that she hums and she meditates like that, and this is what we got. Similarly, again, angles showing you that I didn't have a green, in this green, I didn't have a plain background. So I actually went to first floor and I told the baby to look up, and then I got, stuck. So you can play with colors as well to tell your story. Just stark colors to tell your story. And this is a friend's daughter on the right who got very tired. But she's holding her feet and she's sitting. So I again got an angle, same angle, to tell her, that. So again, don't get stuck in the angle part because I know it can get confusing, but understand what the feeling and the storytelling is all about when you're seeing these pictures. Now, in this case, she's a cello player and I wanted to show movement. How do you show movement? Again, you don't need to, try and be very stuck. Oh my God, I'm not a photographer. How do I do that? On the left, there was wind. I put her in a place where the wind was very strong. So her hair is showing the movement. On the right, my assistants were holding these, white cloth and just moving it to show the rhythm and movement in music. So there are many, many ways. All we need to do is pause and think and understand that we need to do this. Silhouettes, sunsets, very, very beautiful way to stop people because people love silhouettes and you can tell a lot of story. Like my left one, I was changing cities and I made a content on the left one. The road is bending here and I was feeling very emotional when I was leaving my city and going to a new city, and I was feeling, oh my God, and then suddenly this happened and I said the road is not ending, it's bending, and that's how I wrote the content, right? So silhouettes, you can use shadows. Can you see how shadows are telling story? This is a reflection of my son sitting there thinking. So all these things can be used to tell stories. Okay? Think about, if I tell you, think about what you were wearing last Saturday. If I tell everybody, close your eyes, think about what you were wearing, what will happen? And I suddenly remember, oh, I'm wearing a white shirt. But is that possible without visualizing? We are visualizing all the time. Can you remember the white shirt that you were wearing last Saturday without actually seeing yourself wearing a white shirt? So understand that we are visual people and we constantly use visuals. So telling our story through visuals is very important. A lot of people come and say, oh, I'm not a visual person. I write and I do this. And I heard some event I was there, and that lady said, "Oh, congratulations! You're not a visual person. Congratulations, because that means you've never worried in life. Everything we worry about future or anything that we think about past are all visuals. So we are visual people, and that's what I'm trying to bring to this world. That visual can change, visual can transform. If you can learn how to express visually, you can transform so much." So again, this game you can play with yourself. Just throw words and see that, do you see a letter? or do you see a picture? If I say red sofa, you see a red sofa. Even if I say the number in your bag, you see the number written. You don't. You have to see it visually to be knowing the numbers as well. So we are visual, no matter what anybody says. Again, limiting beliefs around photos. There are many, many limiting beliefs around photos. People think that you're very vain if you use your own photos. And this is the self-portrait part. People come to me and say, "Aren't you vain?" And the opposite happened. Till the time I had that limiting belief that it's vanity, it's being self-obsessed. Um, but when I changed it and started expressing visually, the whole world opened in connectivity to me. I connected to myself first, and then I connected to many people, and my kind of people got connected to me because I was giving visuals to them of self-portrait, who I am, and the kind of people I want to connect to. So I feel there are a lot of limiting beliefs around photos. People can keep saying it, but if you step into it, it can be very useful tool for our business, for our self-transformation, for authentically showing up. Okay, this I tell everybody, there will be bad photos and many bad photos, so don't give up. Doing self-portrait and content, even today, as part of being a photographer from a phone, can be very, very challenging. And it can sometimes give us bad pictures. Even the best of photographers get bad pictures. So don't get worried about bad pictures. Delete the bad ones and keep the good ones. Edit them, see if you can use them for content. So don't be disappointed if they are bad photos. Absolutely accept it that when I'm making content, there will be bad photos. Don't compare yourself with the photographer, one photo that he's got which is amazing and then can I get that level? No, you get what you can get, and then you can have bad photos and be okay with it and just delete them if you think they're bad photos and just keep creating. So don't give up. So again, this is a tip I give people. This is a raindrop. I experienced rain before I took this picture on my window, car window. Experience. Unless you experience, you can't feel the visual. And if you can't feel the visual, and I know again it's a very out of the box kind of a view. What do you mean by experience? But the fact is, we suddenly see something, we start shooting, but we've not paused. If we pause and we see, oh, really, what's about to happen here? If we pause, the visual will start emerging. If we pause, and then suddenly we say, oh my God, this is beautiful, and then we click. Many things happen. I have studied on a film camera. We just had 36 frames, and the only thing we could do was to be in the scene, be present in the scene, and then feel the picture and then create it, so that we didn't have more than 36 at a time. Not like this, just click, 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 and still say. So this is a tip I give, but of course we can get deeper into it. When I have my visual story classes, I get deeper into what do you mean by this, the emotional side of photography. All that gets covered. But I'm just giving you all the hints that can take you and help you as much as I can with hinting these things for your visual story mastery. Again, experience will bring you closer to the so don't be in a hurry, is all I say. So this is my work, and the reason I'm putting my work here in the last 20 years is I want to tell you that this is how I view the world. This is how I saw light in everybody's eyes, and this is how I saw and I celebrated my clients with the work that I showed. I did. And this is all great celebration, right? But when it came to me or self-portrait, I was like, no ways I'm doing it. And then one fine day I realized that if I have to be true to my work, if I could bring light in other people's work, I could do it on myself. And hence I started the self-portrait movement, and today I'm deep into it, transforming people through self-portrait. So I just want to tell you that this has been my journey with just phones. All these pictures have been journeys on bad days, on days I was tired, on days I didn't have good hair, on days I didn't want to, on days I was feeling awful, I didn't want to speak up. These are some of the expressions that I've done at different places, and I'm still working and I'm still getting into it. So the reason I showed my work was it's easy to look outward, but it's little tough to look inside. But when we start looking inward, we start changing, and when we start changing outwardly, our pictures start changing and expressing our authentic self of who we are. So examples of self-portraits: there can be a story way of telling a self-portrait that I'm with my child. There can be a portrait way of telling a self-portrait, a formal portrait against black backgrounds and a white background and plain backgrounds in studio style. And then there can be more than one person. Like in this case, I've involved my child. You can involve your husband, you can involve your family, you can involve your crowd, you can tell stories. Like there could be a story where you feel that you are lost in the world, you know. So you could be right there in this train station, standing alone, and everybody can go blurred. And you know, so there are many ways of involving more people, more situations to do your self-portrait and tell stories through your self-portrait. Where can you use all this and how will it help? Now, you can use it for your brochures to tell stories. Why do you always have to take a picture and download it? And why not create something that's close to your heart with your objects, with your things? It relates to you. You would be happy to hold your own brochures if you have pictures taken by you. That's your pen and that's your notebook or that's your garden. So that's one reason it connects you to your work even deeper. You can express better rather than, you know, because see, I don't like pink diaries. But if I download a picture of pink diaries and put it, I will never be able to relate to that brochure and push it ahead to the world because I will not be connected to it. So I feel that if you can learn this skill and then move forward and then put your own stuff into it and tell the story either through content or through self-portraits. You can use it for your social media, you can use it for your brochure, you can use it for your website, you can use it for your personal albums, you can use it for your walls in the house. You can also make a visual journal and take your journey and gift it and print a book. You can be you know, an author, you can put it on a book cover. Everything is possible because visuals are everywhere. Trust me, sit with this thought that a day without visual is not possible. Visuals either in our mind or outwardly will come for us to connect. That's how important visual is, and that's what I'm bringing to this world. That visuals will transform the way you start connecting to visuals in your work, or the way you start connecting to visuals outwardly. You will transform the way you look at life and move forward in a much confident way when you connect to these visuals. And it's already happened with many, many people. Just a quick thing that if you want to do self-portrait, you know, these are some of the things that you might need extra. You generally don't, but you want to take one more step up. Tripod, monopods, gimbal, selfie stick. You can just take a screenshot of it and find out about these. If you want to add a little bit of gadgets to make your self-portrait or your content a little better. So thank you for joining me and this journey. And I love you all because I love when people want to step in to know more about the visual world. And Mike will tell you more about it in case you want to know anything about and need any kind of help in taking this journey of visual storytelling. Mike can help you, you know, tell me more about me. And I thank Mike for allowing me being here. And let me just stop sharing the screen. And then I'm here back. And I want to let you know that visuals matter, stories matter, people do connect to it. Do not underestimate. Think about the fact that there is no world without visuals, not even your meditations. Even in your meditations, initially it's all visualization. So don't just put this tool aside and say, oh, visuals don't matter. To move forward in any way, visuals matter. So how do you express it? There are many, many ways. Thank you so much for listening, and I shall connect with you guys live someday. But any questions that you have, put it in the comments. I will wake up and I will check it and I will try to answer as many questions as I can because I wanted to be there live and answer these questions, but I'm not. But I will answer it when the replay happens. Thank you so much, Mike, for bringing this visual story challenge, and I shall see you very soon. Bye-bye.